sandals. Certain restrictions apply.
Before the break, we asked you which president's home was designated as a historic landmark the same year as Constitution Hall in Washington, the year 1985. And the home belonged to Harry S. Truman. It was actually the family farmhouse where he went to work when he was 22. And just as a side note, Truman's daughter Margaret performed at Constitution Hall in 1947. It was the first time her parents heard her sing in public. Hope they liked it. Well, this is the part of the show where we go beyond partisan talking points to the heart of the political debate where all sides are fair game. It is going to be our Wolf Blitzer's job to get past those talking points. We think Wolf's up to the task at tonight's Republican debate. But right now, we want to put the spotlight on the players. Joining me now, Republican strategist Ron Bonjean and Democratic strategist Robert Zimmerman. Welcome, gentlemen. We're glad you're with us. And here's our new CNN Org poll on the Republican race. As you can see, Newt Gingrich is the front runner. Mitt Romney is basically in the same place he's always been at or near the top. So, Ron, let me start with you. With Gingrich's surge, does that put the target on his back for tonight's debate?
Oh, it absolutely does. You know, the target's been on the backs of Perry, then Herman Cain, and now it's going to be Newt Gingrich's turn, and he's got a chance tonight to really show his stuff. You know, he and Romney both debate very, very well, so I don't think you're going to see, you know, really major mistakes on that front. But I do think that Newt Gingrich is open to potential criticisms that fall outside the foreign policy debate should another candidate, unlikely, but should he be asked a question about his personal life or about the issue with Tiffany's, for instance, that could really get under his skin. That could create some news. But, you know, it's hard to say with a national security debate if that would happen.
Well, you know, I think what's also interesting to note about that poll is that it shows that only 27% of Republicans who were polled truly have made up their mind and have decided who they're supporting. So it's a wide open field. It's very fluid. I quite frankly think Newt Gingrich's surge, very much like Michelle Bachmann or Donald Trump or for that matter, Rick Perry for that matter, I think their surges really are running on political Viagra. By that I mean they're really living off of a sense of media spin. They're living off of a certain moment in time, but let's see if they can survive more than 4 months in this process.
Well, tonight's debate is all about national security. Who has the most to prove on that topic, Ron?
Well, I think Herman Cain has the most to prove because he made that huge mistake on Libya. But I don't think, you know, I think people are starting to discount him and think that he probably won't get the nomination. At least I don't. I think that Rick Perry, because he has a lot of money left in the bank and there's still some time on the clock, he has to gain some ground here. He has to show that he can be effective in these debates, that he can make a comeback, and, you know, I think a lot of people in the media I've talked to said there's still time on the clock, that he still has a chance to get out of the rut he's been in.
Well, let's listen to Newt Gingrich's take on going to war. Listen to this for just a second.
The Declaration of Independence is signed by a group of people who are going to fight an 8-year war. It is a declaration of war in Great Britain, in effect. Washington is in the field 8 years with 1 week at Mount Vernon. These people who wrote these documents understood the grim reality. I believe we should not go to war if we can avoid it. And when we have to go to war, we should do so decisively, with overwhelming power, to seek the quickest possible victory. And we should, in fact, be quite prepared to do whatever it takes to win once we begin an engagement.
Robert, is that the kind of answer people will be wanting to hear tonight?
Well, you know, that comment itself is a standard response about war, and that's the General Powell doctrine. But the bigger issue here, what makes the debate so exciting and so unpredictable this evening, is the fact that the Republican candidates have got to make a decision about whether they're going to preserve their credibility or they're going to play to the extreme fringe of their party, the right-wing base. Let's remember who votes in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. The Republican who wins 2 out of those 3 historically goes on to win the nomination. And we've seen these candidates sit silently by while a gay soldier was booed. And we've seen them make other statements on foreign policy. For example, Rick Perry and Newt Gingrich saying we should zero foreign aid to countries like Israel.
Okay, thanks, Robert. Last comment, Ron.
Yeah, no, I think the key here is their answers on the super committee cuts to the Defense Department. That's going to be huge debate next year on whether or not President Obama is going to allow those cuts, those draconian cuts, to really happen. And I think this is going to be a platform for the GOP to really assert itself on protecting our national security.
We thank you both, Ron Bonjean and Robert Zimmerman. That's fair game. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, after days of bloody demonstrations, a country's military leader says the army is with the people, not against the people. But after counting the dead and wounded, those may be hard words for protesters to believe. Where is this country? The answer